Ghost of Tsushima is a PS4 exclusive set to come out this summer. The game has many fans very excited to give it a go, with each and every trailer building up the hype for the June 2020 release. Me, personally, I believe that this game will be 2020's big surprise in gaming. But before we start, make sure that if you enjoy the video that you leave it a juicy like, and if you really enjoy the video, then make sure that you subscribe for more content like this. So Ghost of Tsushima is a fictionalized version of the Mongol invasion of Tsushima in November of 1274. In real life, like what appears to be shown in the trailer, there are 80 samurai protecting the island of Tsushima from the entire Mongol invasion, which was estimated to be between anywhere from 14,000 to 40,000 Mongol invaders. Now, there is one survivor in our story, and that is going to be the main character, Jin. Jin is the nephew of Shimura, who is the lord or governor of Tsushima at the time, and appears to be the person who trains Jin, as we see in a flashback in one of the recent trailers. Now, it appears from some of the dialogue in these trailers and even the gameplay feature we saw that choices will be a big feature in the game. This isn't the first time Sucker Punch would have done this in a game. Obviously, there are the infamous games where choices of good versus evil play a big role. So this game should be no different. Even the cover art, which I used as the thumbnail, portrays the yin and the yang in the sky, with one half of the sky being white and that fading into a black storm on the other side. In the trailer, the dialogue between Jin and his uncle does reflect that there is a path to be chosen in the game, and that being the honorable samurai path or the dishonorable path, which can lead to bad things. Now, gameplay-wise, the game seems somewhat like Assassin's Creed, with a bit of a mix of stealth and the parkour combat, the action-adventure type game. You know what I'm talking about. There's a billion games out there like that. It really appeals to me, and I think if you're an Assassin's Creed fan that has been waiting a long time for a Japan-set game, this should be a game to look forward to. Now, I will say, speaking of the gameplay and the combat looks just as beautiful as it does brutal. It looks like it's going to be very satisfying combat, and I don't know how much anyone's really going to want to do the stealth aside from the leaping from the horse kill that is also featured. Now, next up, the thing I want to talk about is going to be the customization and the progression. So looking at the special edition offers for pre-ordering, you can get some information on what the progression might be and what the customization might be. If you just look at the skins that will be included, you can see that you will have sword kits, body armor, and mask skins, it appears. It doesn't seem like gear is going to have gear scores and there's going to be loot. It seems like you'll just be able to customize your character to look how you want them to look, and that will be the end of it. Something much more similar to like a Red Dead Redemption or some of the older Assassin's Creed games. And on top of that, there's also the horses. Now, it's not exactly clear whether the horses will be skins or if you'll be able to find different kinds of horses throughout the world and train them kind of like in Red Dead. I will say, just kind of making assumptions here, I am seeing some similarities between this game and Red Dead as far as certain things go, but I'll explain a little bit more on that later. Another thing I want to talk about is the progression. You can kind of see hinted at. With these special edition offers, you can see that you'll get a technique point and a charm of Hachiman's favor. A technique point hints at some sort of skill tree or something to where you earn them obviously through doing combat and certain things in the world, and you should be able to put those towards abilities. And then the charms, I would imagine, may go towards specializing certain equipment or specializing certain weapons. I would imagine it may lean more towards the weapons if the equipment is purely for just cosmetic purposes, because it does say sword kit, not just swords, so it may mean that you can apply certain damage effects to all your weapons. Maybe it does better when you're in a defensive stance, maybe it's better for attacking. Obviously, I don't know how that all is going to work, but it is going to be interesting to see. Another thing that you will notice if you look at the description of the actual bonuses is that they will be available through story progression. Now, I would be very interested to see if the progression is story-based. What I mean is something like Jedi Fallen Order, where you do have a skill tree, but it's not completely open as soon as you turn on the game and get through the introduction of it. It's where you have to learn certain abilities to unlock more pieces of the skill tree, because at a certain point you've only mastered so much of it. I think that would be a fantastic addition to have in the game, and it was one of my favorite parts of Jedi Fallen Order, and it ties the progression to the story, which means the story has more importance placed on it, and I just really like that, obviously because I love stories in games. Now, another thing about the story is about the open world. And the first thing I want to go over regarding the open world is we don't exactly know how open it's going to be. It could be anywhere from an Uncharted style where it's semi-open chapters of areas where it's open to explore, but it's still putting you on a linear path. Or is it going to be purely open world like The Witcher and Assassin's Creed and all those kinds of games? We don't know for sure yet. I would imagine it would be something more like a true open world, but again, there's nothing confirmed by Sucker Punch regarding that whatsoever. Now, another thing I want to talk about the world, and I think this is going to be a very obvious one for you guys, and that is that the world is just stunning to look at. And the reason for that is because the game is made stylistically. And essentially what that means is it's another one of those connections I'm drawing to Red Dead Redemption 2, and that is where the game is made in an art style to make the world constantly look appealing to the visuals. And this is as opposed to making it ultra realistic looking, where some places may not be particularly good to look at. It's in order to make it to where the player is constantly satisfied by the world he's viewing. That's why the draw distances are so amazing, and that is why every single pan shot you see in the game just looks stunning. It looks mystical, and I think it will add a lot to the story, because I think a lot of people, when they think of medieval Japan, is there's sort of a mystique to it, something kind of mysterious about it and something beautiful about it, and I think that an open world that captures that stylistic look to it is the perfect idea for this type of game. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into the video. If you really enjoyed the video, make sure that you do leave a like, and if you want more content like this covering Ghost of Tsushima, make sure that you subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.